This video is sponsored by Planoly. Now that it's the new year and 2024 has arrived, there may be some of you out there who are looking at starting a photography business this year, or maybe you're looking at organizing your first photo shoot. If you're new to the industry, you might have some questions around this and how to go about planning your first photo shoot, especially when it comes to beauty and fashion photography, as there's a lot of different variables that you have to consider and a lot of different people who are usually on set too. So in today's video, we're going to go through some simple steps to planning your first photo shoot and talk about specifically for fashion and beauty photography and what you may need to know. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Kaylee June and I'm a beauty and fashion photographer based near Sydney, Australia. I've been running this channel now for 10 years and I talk about all things photography related, retouching, tutorials, everything under the umbrella of beauty and fashion photography. So as I mentioned, we're going to be going through some simple steps to planning your first photo shoot today and really focusing on some aspects that you might want to consider. But before we get into it, a quick word first from our sponsor for this video, Planoly. Planoly is an online tool that allows creators to build a sustainable business around their passion and creativity, while allowing them to save time and stay consistent. Planoly allows creators to plan out their days, weeks, and months across social media. So whether you post on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, or X, Planoly has got you covered. In fact, Planoly creators grew their following sixfold by posting weekly for 3 months on average. And Planoly has now auto-posted over 30 million times on behalf of creators. As many of you already know, I've been using Planoly for years, and there's so many things that I personally love about the platform, including that you can easily repurpose your content by resharing to all social media channels in a single view, and you can utilize the mobile app on the go and be reminded when it's time to post. Let 2024 be your most organized year yet and achieve those content creation goals. To find out more, click the link in the description box below and use the code Kaylee30 for 30% off all annual subscriptions. And now back to the video. So we're going to dive into the first tip I have for planning your first photo shoot. And the first tip is to get onto Pinterest. Now, I will say this to anyone who is looking for inspiration basically for anything. I think a lot of you probably already know that Pinterest is kind of king for organizing inspiration and to organizing your boards and really just categorizing everything that you've got as well in terms of inspiration. But I really want to push forward the fact as to how important this will be for a photo shoot. I have so many boards on my Pinterest account. I have boards for certain hairstyles. I have boards for certain makeup styles. I have boards for editorial inspiration. I have some for commercial inspiration. I have some for product inspiration. I virtually have categorized everything that I could possibly have for inspiration in my photo shoots, and I have made boards specifically for that. That way it makes it really easy and organized if I ever need to reach in there, which I do often, for mood boards and things like that, to get those images, or it might just be a quick visual representation of something that you want to communicate to a client or someone else who might be collaborating with you on the photo shoot. So it's really important to have this kind of database of inspiration, and I use Pinterest all the time for this just because it is so easy to access, and obviously it's on the web so you can easily access on your phone on the go if you need to. The second most important point for planning a photo shoot is to create a mood board. Now, I can't actually stress this enough how important it is to create a mood board, and this will be for your team to look at. This will be for your client if you've got a particular client on this photo shoot. This is really important because it is the main visual communicator of everything that's going to be happening on the shoot day. People really need to get that visual aspect of what's going to be going on, and this is exactly how you can give it to them in a mood board form. Now, I really like using Milanote to create my mood boards. I've talked about this before on my channel, and I actually use it because, again, it's just really simple, like Pinterest, to easily put photos into a mood board, to then download it as a PDF and to send it off to my team. Usually I do try to be quite detailed with my mood boards. However, it does depend on the type of shoot that I'm doing. If I'm just doing a collaboration, like a test shoot or something like that with people who I've worked with before, I'll usually keep it pretty simple. That's if we're not doing anything that's kind of editorial to you or a magazine submission, for example, then that's where the mood board becomes a lot more detailed. For example, for editorial camera work or for a magazine submission, you really need to have detailed outfits, what you're going to be having on the day, what the model is going to be wearing, makeup styles. A lot of the time you'll be working with 6 to 8 different looks. So you really do need to be a lot more detailed in those types of mood boards. But in general, I will include hair inspiration, makeup inspiration, styling inspiration, and just a general look or feel for it. There might be other aspects that you want to add into that, like location inspiration, or maybe even prop inspiration and things like that too. But as I mentioned, mood boards are very important, and it's definitely something that I would always recommend any photographer for any photo shoot to have, and even just for your own reference to make sure that you stay on track, because it's all too easy a lot of the time on set to go off track and to start shooting something that was never really agreed upon initially. So it's really good to have that reference. I actually also like to quite often add lighting references and posing references into this as well, and that really helps me again stay on track. And really, if I do get stuck at all during the shoot day, I know that I can always refer to that, and it's going to kind of help me out in that sense. Now, this is a little bit more of a step-by-step video. So once you've gotten onto Pinterest, gotten your inspiration images, then you've made your mood board, the next most important thing is to, of course, contact your team members and actually reach out to them. And I usually like to do that at around this stage, unless I've had people previously that I've worked with on shoots and I can sort of talk to them in the mood board creation stage about what we want to achieve. You can also do this, but I think usually to make things a bit more streamlined and easier for people to kind of understand from the get-go, I like to kind of have a mood board to reach out to potential team members with. It just once again gives them a good visual representation of the potential shoot that you guys might be able to work together on, or give them that idea of the inspiration that you have, and then they can weigh up whether that's something that they want to work on themselves. As I mentioned, I really like contacting the team at this stage of the planning process because you already have that hard work done in terms of the actual shoot mood board. You can also add to that as you go along, as you get team members on board. At this stage of the process, it's totally acceptable to have parts of the mood board as well that you may leave as blank. And this is because if you do contact, say, a stylist at this point, then you've already kind of created most of the mood board, but then you can kind of change it as you go along. And if you need to, you can usually work with the stylist on that. If you don't have a stylist at all, you can put that in from the beginning, but just keep in mind that the mood boards can always be tweaked as you go along. And it is good to reach out to new team members with a mood board in hand. Then of course, from this point, it's important to organize a date and a location. So making sure that all team members are all on board with the shoot, and knowing when their availability is going to be important at this stage, because you really do want to know the availability of your team members before, for example, you go and contact a model potentially, or you go to a modeling agency to request models from them. So it's good to have a good date in mind of when you want to shoot, but this isn't necessary. I will stress that you can move this around as you go along, and especially if you do contact a modeling agency, there's a model in particular that you really do want to work with, then you can kind of shift this date. But again, I think it's good to have a rough idea of when the date will be and where the location will also be, so everyone is really across it from the start, and there is kind of that good ongoing organization and communication. And the final main step to really making sure that you have a well-planned photo shoot is to have a call sheet. Now, a call sheet is really imperative because a call sheet will have everything about the shoot on it. So you might even choose to put the mood board into the call sheet, but realistically, it's going to have everyone's details, which will be really important. There's nothing worse than not having anyone's details on the call sheet because you really don't know who you're working with. So personally, I like to put people's Instagram handles in there as well, so everyone can go out and check everyone else's work if they don't know each other personally. And I also like to put phone numbers in there if I have them, and email addresses. Just any form of contact for the team members is a really important thing to have, and just making sure that that communication is really solid at this point in the planning process. Also making sure that dates are correct. The times also need to be stipulated in the call sheet. So this is when the models will arrive, when makeup artists will arrive, when the photographer will be there, when setup is happening. Just be really across that particular part of things. Also talk about the objective for the photo shoot if you want to as well. I think it's good to just kind of have that objective in there at times to make sure everyone is across the photo shoot. But overall, I would say just make sure with each of the elements that I've spoken about in this video today that there is a really good level of communication, because as soon as poor communication comes into it, you're going to find that there are problems that do arise. And I think if it's your first photo shoot, it's important to not be too stressed about each of these elements, just making sure that the communication is good regardless. Now for call sheets as well, I just like to use Google Docs, which is free and it's online, and I just like to export it as a PDF. PDF and send that to my team members, usually a couple of days or up to a week or so before the shoot. And those points that I've mentioned today are some of the most important points for planning a photo shoot, but they're also quite simple to remember and really good to get in the habit of producing each of those things or doing those things in kind of that order essentially. So let me know down in the comment section below what you like to do to stay organized for a photo shoot or what you like to do in your planning process. I'd really love to hear it. And if you're organizing your first photo shoot this year, please let me know down in the comments below as well, because I really want to hear from you. And let me know if you're having any struggles with planning a photo shoot at the moment, because we can definitely chat more about it in the comment section and hopefully I can help with that. But thank you all so much for watching this video today, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, make sure that you do, because I'll be posting a lot more in future. But thank you so much for watching this video today, and I'll see you in the next one.